that you're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment.
A new song?
No.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
Oh, what's so great about it?
It's so good.
You made a comparison with you and Nas, man. Everybody was talking about it. Now, why out of everybody you pick Nas, bro?
I didn't do it.
They asked him. They asked him a question.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally. He had one.
Jim Jones really messed with the wrong legends this time. First, he took shots at Nas, then came straight for Pusha T, back to back like he had nothing left to lose. Now his whole music career is barely holding on. Yep, that's all it took to flip the culture against him. Jim went on record saying Nas was never really that impactful. Then he claimed Pusha T was overrated. He even bragged that he was the reason Nas went viral again, and people are still saying that was the moment Jim crossed a line he can't walk back from. What happened after that? It didn't feel like regular rap beef anymore. This was bigger, messier, and way more dangerous. Now everybody's wondering, was this just another rapper's ego spiraling out of control? Or is the culture itself slowly pushing Jim out of the picture, the very culture he once helped build? That quote he dropped is still everywhere. His Summer Jam set, cut short. And trust Pusha T's not staying quiet about this either. So let's rewind and break down how Jim's slow public downfall really got started.
My son can't tell you one Nas record. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck.
That wild statement is the one that threw Jim straight into free fall. And let's be clear, this wasn't just light criticism, this was erasure. Jim wasn't talking about Nas's recent projects. He was throwing shade at the entire legacy of one of hip-hop's most respected genre-defining icons.
I admired Nas, but remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like, you dig? We came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan. Period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
Now let's zoom in on where this bomb even dropped. This didn't happen on some battle rap stage. Jim said all this on the Joe and Jada podcast, a spot known for chill convos, not career funerals. And instead of pulling back, Jim went full throttle. He basically said, straight-faced, that Nas never meant much to hip-hop culture, and that Jim's own Billboard stats could rival, maybe even surpass Nas' numbers. Wild, right?
I came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them, though.
You know what I mean?
A lot of them, though.
Let's get something straight. Nas isn't just some rapper. He's a foundation of hip-hop. Illmatic is literally studied in college classrooms. Ether still keeps veteran rappers awake at night. And King's Disease, proof the man's still evolving, still setting the bar higher. Meanwhile, Jim's over here talking like he just dropped The Chronic or something, when that's far from the truth. But here's what makes it wild. This wasn't even about the music anymore. This was pure ego. Straight up insecurity dressed up as just my opinion. And the worst part, he dragged his own kid into the mess. Like, what kind of example is that supposed to be? The internet didn't waste a second. People started posting side-by-side comparisons, pulling up every Nas award, every sold-out arena, every timeless classic. And while Nas's achievements stacked up like trophies on a shelf, Jim's Billboard stats, let's just say they didn't exactly hit the same.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening, bro.
All of this chaos because Jim wanted to rewrite hip-hop history with a hot take nobody needed. Now, most artists, after getting roasted online for disrespecting a legend, would fall back, maybe clear the air or at least chill out a little. But not Jim. Nah, he took it further. He sat down on Nightcap, looked Shannon Sharpe dead in the eye, and tripled down. He said Nas never had that level of influence people give him credit for.
Way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that
but listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run.
Then he dropped the wildest take yet. He claimed Nas was always second place.
But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There are a lot of more folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album.
Pause. Second to who? Jay-Z and DMX? That comparison doesn't even make sense. Let's be real. Those three were in completely different lanes. Nas brought soul, poetry, and deep reflection. Jay was all about the corporate hustle and boss moves. And DMX, pure chaos and raw pain. Trying to stack them up like it's a competition, that's like comparing Kendrick Lamar to Future. Two completely different beasts doing their own thing. Different lanes, different missions, but saying Nas never led the pack? That's not just an opinion, that's full-on rewriting history. And the craziest part? Jim doesn't even hide that he used to be a fan. He's out here admitting that, as a teen, he wanted to dress like Nas. But now he's throwing shade like they were never on the same level.
I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
Think about it, he's using a movie clip from 1998 as his reason to dismiss a 30-year legendary career. That's where the delusion really kicks in, because at this point, it's not about stats anymore. It's not just an opinion. Jim's talking like someone who needs Nas to be below him, and he's frustrated that the receipts don't support his narrative. This wasn't debate, it was a power play. Jim wanted to force his way into the same convo as the GOATs of hip-hop. But instead, all he did was put a spotlight on how insecure he feels about never being mentioned beside them. And if you thought Jim was about to slow down, nope. On Bag Fuel, he dropped one of the wildest claims yet. He didn't just say Nas wasn't relevant anymore. He didn't just say Nas was second place. Nah, Jim went all the way left and claimed he's the one who brought Nas back to life on the internet. Can you believe that?
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas said that to you?
You did. The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing when him and Jay was beating on him. You heard? You did? Like, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the semantics of it.
Since the whole Nas? Okay.
No, I don't know Nas to have a conversation with him. You don't have a conversation, we can have that too and shit like that. You dig? Like, I don't really care.
He really acted like the whole culture should be thanking him for reminding people that Nas exists. The internet fired back instantly. One fan didn't hold back, commenting, "The only reason people are even talking about you is because you're making dumb comments about Nas. That's the only reason folks are interviewing you, for the clicks." Jim still couldn't leave a mark, no matter how loud he talked. One person online said, "The level of delusional disrespect from Jim Jones toward Nas is out of control. I'm done with it." And they weren't alone. People were calling him out left and right, saying, "You don't earn stripes by running your mouth like this," especially when the facts don't lie. Nas has been working non-stop. 3 albums in 5 years, a Grammy, and multiple sold-out shows. Meanwhile, Jim's been chilling behind a podcast mic. Jim really thought he was starting a whole movement, but what he actually did was start his own downfall. Now let's rewind to 2024, Paris Louis Vuitton Spring Summer Show. The crowd stacked with icons, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, LeBron, basically every powerful name in music, fashion, and culture all in one place. Cameras flashing everywhere. Pharrell's making history, debuting his first ever Louis Vuitton men's collection, Energy's Electric, and then boom, the beat drops. But this ain't just any instrumental, but it's clips. For the first time in over a decade, Pusha T and his brother No Malice hit the stage with a brand new track. And the second the lyrics hit, You could feel the tension shift in the room. Even Jay-Z was nodding along. This wasn't just slick wordplay, it was a declaration of war. And to drop it right there at the biggest event of the year, that was a statement nobody could ignore. And the lyrics? Straight fire. Everybody in the room knew exactly who they were aimed at. There was one bar in particular, chasing a feature out of your element, and it was a clear shot at Jim. Why? Because Jim had been cozying up to Drake after being crowned an honorary Dipset member on stage in Harlem. But let's not forget, that's the same Drake that Pusha T destroyed in the story of Adidon. A battle Drake's rep still hasn't fully recovered from. Jim tried to ride that wave, and instead he just got caught in the undertow. This wasn't Pusha T dropping some quick diss on SoundCloud, nah, this was calculated warfare. Pusha used Paris Fashion Week as the battleground for his ambush. That's how far ahead he's playing the game. Meanwhile, Jim's out here dragging Pusha's name through the mud on Breakfast Club, Rap Caviar, and Drink Champs, saying wild stuff like Pusha's not even top 50.
Can you sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now? His records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan.
You know.
I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records. Pusha T, I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that, but you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought, like you did, like, where I'm from, niggas want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things like that.
Wayne wanted to be like Pusha?
Shit.
He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah? Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. You heard? But what else has he bring to the game? Did he make people want to dress like him? Did he have some slang that everybody was talking like him? There would be the girls, all the girls wanted to do him. Like, what is the...
Seriously? But here's the difference. While Jim was running laps in the podcast circuit, Pusha T was putting billionaires, fashion royalty, and certified GOATs in the front row of his revenge show. And the setup? Man, the layers were insane. This wasn't just about bars, it was about the whole scene. Pharrell produced the track. The same Pharrell who shaped Clips's entire sound, the same dude connected to both Virginia streets and fashion's elite inner circles. The Clips didn't just drop a song, they unveiled chains and whips, yet a track reportedly cooked up inside Louis Vuitton's Paris HQ, overlooking the Seine River. Pharrell even told the New York Times about how they made it, pointing out the window saying, "We just started walking around and looking out this window, and you just see all of this. I mean, we beating this system, bro." That's next level symbolism right there. While Pusha was playing chess in Paris, guess what Nas was doing back in Queens? Building an empire. While Jim was out chasing blog headlines, Nas was unveiling Resorts World Queens, a mind-blowing 350,000 square foot casino complex, part of a massive $5 billion vision.
You wait for is something you build. It lives in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the people who refuse to stand still. Resorts World is more than a casino. It's energy. It's opportunity. It's hope for the borough. A second chance for some, a first step for many. It's where community gathers, not just to win, but to build a future once imagined. This isn't just business, this is legacy. And now, it's time to invest in...
This wasn't some regular celebrity deal, though. This was Nas investing in infrastructure, equity, and generational wealth for his borough. Meanwhile, Jim Jones is somewhere bragging about summer jam bookings like it's still 2008. Nas didn't even have to step into the booth. He dropped receipts, not verses, and those hits landed harder than any diss track ever could. The fans saw it clear as day. Comments under Nas posts? Brutal. People were dragging Jim for even trying to play in the same league. Another one who just can't stop talking, worried about going viral instead of building something real. Meanwhile, Nas is out here making boss moves in silence. When you're truly rich, truly respected, and truly relevant, you don't waste time clapping back. You let your life do the talking. And while Nas is stacking wins, Jim's over here getting booed off stage. Picture this, Summer Jam 2024, Jim Jones finally gets the shot he's been chasing all year.
You success, it's August, I'm going to November. I need a couple birds, get a bird, please, come on bird, have a seat. Please, come on niggas, come on squad, have a seat, yeah, please, yeah. I see a town of monkeys, you can get money in a town.
But the second he steps on that stage, silence, nothing but awkward crickets, and then it gets even worse. Funkmaster Flex, the same Flex who's been riding for Jim for years, cuts his set short. You could literally see it hit Jim in real time. This was supposed to be his big comeback moment. But instead of delivering hits, Jim brought nothing but beef energy. And guess what? The crowd wasn't feeling it, because when the smoke clears, people want music, not mess. But even after getting shut down on one of the biggest stages, Jim still wasn't finished. He had one more shot to fire, and this one got personal. See, after the whole Louis Vuitton ambush, Pusha T kept it quiet in public. But behind the scenes, word started spreading. He was far from done. People close to Clips said the track they dropped in Paris, that was just the beginning. Their upcoming reunion album, packed with surgical bars aimed straight at Jim. The Paris track was just the opening warning shot. What's coming next? Way darker, and some insiders are already calling this Pusha T's Coke Bear moment, because he's stepping fully into the villain role and loving it. He's not playing safe anymore, and if Jim keeps running his mouth, what's coming next might just be lyrical murder. But let's be clear. It's not just about the bars, it's the setup, the strategy. Pusha's making his comeback in elite spaces, Paris runways, billionaire circles, while Jim's still rapping in Harlem alleyways over the same beat that just buried him. Yep, you heard that right. Jim tried to flip the chains and whips beat and dropped his own freestyle as a response, but instead of making a statement, it came off like a desperate move. And here's where Jim really crossed the line. He threw shade at No Malice, and that's different. See, you can take shots at Pusha all day, but when you bring up No Malice, a man who left rap to follow his faith and completely turned his life around, that's no longer just beef. That's flat out disrespect. So far, Pusha hasn't clapped back publicly, but if history tells us anything, he never moves fast, he moves smart. And when he strikes, it's deadly. But Jim didn't stop there. He made his biggest mistake yet. On camera during an interview, Jim publicly dissed Clips' new single, Chains and Trumpets. He tried to play it cool, brushing it off like he doesn't listen to Clips and never has. But the fake chill vibe didn't fool anyone. You could hear the insecurity leaking through every word. Deep down, he knows exactly who they were talking about, and that they bodied him on that track.
Yes.
About Pusha T.
People don't like people, yeah, see? There we go. And then look what happens. But I'm ready for all things, man. Shouts to Pusha, shouts to that guy, shouts to the Clips. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
Do you like the new song?
No, but you know.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great about it?
It's so good.
It's good?
It's so, oh man.
It's good?
So, yeah, there's something going on that you ain't tell us about, bro.
It's good in what? A nostalgic value of it?
You don't think Ace Trumpets is hard?
I don't believe them. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to downplay nobody.
And this is where the energy shifts for real. It's not just Nas and Pusha coming for Jim anymore. It's like the entire culture is quietly closing the door on him. Right now, the blogs are cooking Jim Jones left and right. Even longtime Dipset fans, people who used to scream "ballin" in the streets, are hitting the comments saying, "Yo, Jim, it's time to stop. This ain't it." Because let's be honest, this wasn't just some friendly rap beef. This was a full-on wake-up call. Jim thought he could step into the same arena as Nas and Pusha T, like it was some regular back and forth. But instead of coming with bars that shook the culture, he got folded by silence, cold chess moves, and billion-dollar plays happening way above his level. Nas didn't need to say much. Pusha didn't need 10 diss tracks. They let the power moves speak for them, and it hit way harder than anything Jim dropped. And look at where Jim is now. Not trending, not making playlists, not even part of the conversation, unless it's about this downfall. He's like a ghost in his own story. But here's the part that should really scare him. The next Clips album hasn't even dropped yet. The track they premiered in Paris, that was just the appetizer. When that full album hits with all those rumored surgical shots aimed at Jim, that could be the real funeral. So if you thought this whole drama was wild already, you haven't seen anything yet. The next chapter might just flip the whole game upside down. And hey, if you've been vibing with this breakdown, smash that like button, share it with your crew, and hit subscribe so you never miss when the next bomb drops in this story. This saga's far from over. Catch you on the next one.